Hello everyone, welcome to other Derana BIZ 24. Like any other industry, education industry is also facing many challenges these days. And as we know, the education industry has faced many transformations, undergone many transformations over the years. Now, coming into today's situation of the country, we know we're all facing an economic crisis and so many problems. And one question all parents has these days is whether to send your children abroad for higher studies. And if so, whether to pursue higher studies soon after O-levels, whether soon after A-levels or even after a degree. Now this is a question we are going to answer today. And as we know, there are many foundation programs that are available in the country that will only allow the elite and the upper class society parents to support their children for their higher studies and to send them abroad. But today, we're going to talk about a private institute which provides the same opportunity to any student and any family in Sri Lanka despite their social status, which is ESOFT. And the main question we're going to talk about today is to help you make your higher education decision, whether to do it after O-levels, after A-levels or a degree. And to have this discussion today, we have a professional with vast experience and expertise in the field of education. He is none other than the founder, chairman and the managing director of ESOFT Group, Dr. Dayan Rajapaksha. Hello to you, Doctor.
Hello.
So good to have you today in our studio for the other Derana BIZ 24. And at the start itself, I would like to ask you the question. Now, we're going to help the parents and the students who are watching this program today to make their higher education decision. You know, if they're thinking whether to start after O-levels, after A-levels, or even after a degree. How does this concept work with you, Doctor?
Yeah, so actually this decision whether you would like to engage in higher education, at what stage you engage in higher education, basically it's a kind of, I would say it's a personalized decision based on the individual, right? You know, some people straight away after school they start their career and they do job and then they do higher education only in the latter part of their life, right? But under the current context where we are facing a lot of challenges, especially in the family units now these days because of this high inflation, right? So living in Sri Lanka is a huge challenge, right?
Indeed.
So then the parents only, they are one of the biggest hope that they have is investing on their children, right, who are capable, talented, and can they be transformed into a productive citizen. So this is where the concept which we are highlighting, why not engage into higher education after O-level comes into the picture, because if I can make my child an independent citizen in 3 years from now, that is so much better than making it after another 5 years.
That's true.
Right? If you can make it in 1 year also, like nowadays of course there's no hard and fast rule to say that you can't be employed as an undergraduate, right? If you have built up relevant competencies and skills, even after the first year, you can be employed, right? I mean, in certain fields,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, of course, if you are doing medicine, you can't be employed as a doctor when you are when you are in the final year, right? It's illegal, right? But however, there are other fields where you can build competencies in a short period of time, and then you can start on productive working in fields like IT and so on. So therefore, the decision whether you want to do it after O-levels, whether you want to do it after O-levels, whether you would like to do a degree here and then go for higher studies, postgraduate in other country, it depends on where you want to go and what you want to do. So I would say doing A-levels is compulsory for some fields like medicine and engineering, right? Because the undergraduate studies in those areas will require the A-level knowledge as a prerequisite. For example, if you are not done A-level maths, no one, I don't think anybody can cope up with engineering studies, right? So therefore, it's a prerequisite. Medicine, no option because you need to learn chemistry and biology if you want to cope up with a medical undergraduate program. But there are other fields, right, where you can start from O-level, especially now. Of course, you might be aware that IT we have a huge shortage of staff. Right, one is because our qualified people are leaving the country, right? So we are even, I mean, to the extent we can't run our industry, we are in short, right? So if we can have an output quickly, if you can double our output, so that will help the industry as well. It will help the individual, it will help the family, so that you can, you know, release your family pressure, right? And also it will help the industry. So I think I am advising, you know, parent to think about, but consider your child's maturity and focus as well. You know, not every child in O-level will be willing to take up higher studies, right?
That's right.
So you must make a judgment. If your child is sort of, you know, focused and they want to, you know, take up a career soon, right? And then you should support them. You should give them that opportunity. Where, you know, IT fields, IT and business, and, you know, those areas, earlier you start your career, the climb that you can have in the corporate ladder would be much higher, because you need experience ultimately, right? Without experience, you can't, you know, jump from one level to another level. So therefore, if you can qualify early, you have more time to really gather that experience and go to the top level in the corporate sector.
Having that said, doctor, now I'm sure most of the parents are watching. I think at the start of the conversation itself, we are breaking a norm, right? Where it's not really necessary, but depending on the competency and education level, you can decide whether to pursue your higher education soon after O-levels. My next question is, doctor, is it really possible to obtain a bachelor's and then go into a master's, PhD, now these are the levels of education, without qualifying from GCE A-levels? Yes.
Yeah, good question. Because, you know, our traditional concept has been, you know, you have to do A-levels and you have to score well in A-levels to get into a university. That was the case when only the state universities were there in Sri Lanka. But there are now about 20 private universities as well in Sri Lanka. ESOFT is one of them. So now things have changed, right? Even you might know that, you know, for example, Colombo University has a Bachelor of Information Technology external degree, where you can do it via a foundation from O-levels. So it's a state university, but that's the only one. There's no other university.
We're yet to get there, I guess.
No other university opens the pathway from O-levels. But you know, this, when you say we are skipping A-levels, actually you are not completely skipping A-levels, because you have to cover up that level from an alternative program. That is where these foundation programs come. I don't do A-levels, but I do something equivalent to A-level, because you have to cover that, because normally, you know, qualifications are regulated by qualification frameworks. So for academic qualification, it is SLQF, Sri Lanka Qualification Framework. So if you don't do A-levels, you can't straight away jump from O-level to the degree. You have to do an alternative, and that alternative is the foundation. So therefore, so you are doing something which will match with your A-levels. So because of that, by this pathway, when you get a degree, you are not actually, you know, obtained any fake qualification or anything, because you have gone through the proper ladder, proper pathway. And therefore, your postgraduate studies, whether you want to do a master's or whether even you want to go up to the PhD, there won't be any obstacle for you.
Right. So you mean to say following an alternative pathway for A-levels won't hinder your qualifications?
No, because that's mapped into A-level, right? In the qualification framework, it is mapped to your A-levels. So A-level equivalent one is what we cover from our foundation program.
Very well. With that, what are your experiences in following these alternative pathways from O-levels to degrees?
Yeah, because this is not something that was started, you know, today. I remember even there were parents who were sending children to us. Even in 2010, we had, I mean, some people knew that there was such pathways available. So because of that, they knew it. Those who knew it, I mean, so it was used by the elite crowd. So what I am trying to do is generalize it, give that opportunity to, you know, our general middle class, that population as well, because otherwise they were not aware whether such pathways exist. So I mean, I had a student who was a royalist who was brought to me somewhere around in 2010 after O-levels, because his father was also a PhD qualified person, right? But this fellow was completely telling his parents that I don't want to do A-levels. That is how he was brought to me. And then he did our bachelor's programs, and then he went for master's in UK. Now he has finished his PhD. Now he's running his own company.
Oh, that's nice.
Right?
And that's a success story.
So there are so many success stories. I mean, there is another student in Kandy, I remember she qualified with BCS, I think, even before 16.
Okay.
Right? But now BCS has put a rule that you can't be joining BCS unless you are 16 plus.
Okay.
But those days it was possible. Now she's actually, she did a state university degree also. So now she's at the age of 22, she's a lecturer in Peradeniya University. So you can take a big break in your career if you can enter your career at an early age, young age.
And just like that, we are sharing the success stories with his experience of how students have followed their O-levels and straight away gone into higher education. We would like to continue this discussion soon after this break. Welcome back after the break. And before the break, Doctor, you mentioned that there are so many opportunities that are available in the IT industry in Sri Lanka because all the IT professionals tend to leave the country, but yet there's so much demand in the country itself. You yourself as an IT professional, I would like to ask you, what are the possible pathways that are available soon after O-levels to be followed?
Yeah, so IT is one of the best option because as you all know that IT now sort of giving very high earning opportunities in terms of some of the companies have gone for dollar peg salaries, right? They basically pay. So I think in terms of starting salaries, that is one of the best profession to enter. So IT also now there are so many specializations. IT also has grown heavily over the last 2 decades. Right, so you can specialize in software, mobile application development. It can be networking, cybersecurity, multimedia. So there are many pathways for you to choose. Actually, we are working with 2 British universities, so they offer different flavors of IT degrees. Right, specializing in hardware, specializing in networking, security, and software engineering. So it's up to you. And it should depend on your, one thing is competencies, and the other one is you should also consider what you are more passionate about, right? And then based on that you can choose, but that is nothing to worry because when you are starting you don't have to choose that. Probably after the first semester in your higher national you can make that choice, and then you will know that I'm going towards this one, this is my ultimate future job role, right? We have connected with a lot of industry partners also because now they are also coming behind us because they want people, right? We have written so much of MOUs between so many companies, but now I cannot mention their brands here, but they are really struggling to get the required amount of people. So that means it's an opportunity for our youth.
A space to be filled, definitely.
Space to be filled, yes.
With that, Doctor, I would like to ask you about the possible pathways at ESOFT itself soon after O-levels.
Yeah, so first of all, actually, as I told you that they have to do a foundation, which is to match the A-levels. So we have some program called Pearson Assured Diploma Program. It's a Pearson UK Assured Qualification, which is about 8 to 12 months program where they cover up that A-level equivalent component, right? So they can do that in IT stream or business stream, right? So that is the 2 different streams that is available. Then after the Pearson Assured Diploma, they do a higher national diploma. So, and our higher national diploma is about 18 months. So that student from O-level in about 2 to 2.5 years will be completing a higher national diploma, which is equivalent to a 2 years of a British degree, and then they enter the final year of a British degree. If you want, you can go and do it in wherever preferred country, not only UK, Australia, New Zealand. We have university partners who have mapped our HND. So if you want, you can transfer. Right, even Canada, these kind of popular destinations. These days our people are looking at. So we have got that mapping, so they can transfer and do the balance part in another country. That is final year. If it's a 4-year degree, it will be 2 years there. If it's a 3-year degree, it will be 1 year there, right? Otherwise, if you still, I would recommend if you want to save a little bit more money, you can complete the degree here. We are working with 2 British universities, Kingston and London Metropolitan University. So you can choose your pathway and finish your degree here with a top-up degree, country itself. And then you can easily, actually these days, for even student visas, getting a student visa is easier for postgraduate studies, right? Because you are qualified, right? And so you are not just going there to hang around.
Yes.
You can be a productive citizen because you have gained some bachelor's qualification. You are used to English medium studies. You have proven yourself. So therefore, many offer letters, many visa processes, the students will be successful if they apply for a postgraduate qualification. So there are opportunities in that way. So exact pathway is you do a diploma, and then you do the higher national diploma, and then you can either transfer or you can complete your degree with a top-up degree here.
I think with that, the next question most parents are watching this. I think all parents would have is the financial burden, whether not doing A levels and straight away going into a higher education pathway. Will this add up to the burden of finance?
Yeah.
How will this work, doctor?
Yeah.
Will this
As
give
you
a
say
relief?
now, as the cost of living is very high, can parent afford to spend for higher education of the child right now?
Yeah.
Or is it better to postpone it? I would say anyway, you either have to fund them for A levels or you have to direct them here.
Yeah.
So I can guarantee that whatever amount that you are spending for A levels, now these days if you are sending a child for group classes for A levels, it will cost you something, right? I'm not talking about the whole classes. I mean generally middle class families send children for smaller group classes. So if you send a child for 3 A level subjects for group classes, for that money, that amount of monthly installment, you can cover up our cost. So it's just in economics you have to forego something and you have to take up a decision. So you forego A levels and you allocate the same amount to monthly pay for your child's higher education. You are able to. So it's not going to make an additional burden. Anyway, parents are prepared these days for their child completing their child's secondary education, or they have some plans for that. So same plan can be diverted to start higher studies. So it's not going to be an extra cost, because as ESOFT is operating in entire country, our prices are affordable to many people, because I'm not running an institution only in Colombo.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's in all provinces. So then our price structure is actually has been set considering economic conditions of various communities in different parts of the country. So it's 100% affordable.
I think that's such a relief to the parents who are watching this program as well, because soon as you hear a shortcut in education or anything, any middle class parent or family would feel like, oh, it's not for us, it's for the higher upper class. But no, we're talking about ESOFT, where you can afford your qualification, and also it's a fast track, get qualified a little early. With that, doctor, I would like to ask now, what are some of the other streams? We spoke about IT. What are some of the other streams where this method of alternative pathways could be a success?
Yeah, so now in management, you can take different flavors of management. It can be finance, it can be HR, or even you can go into travel and tourism management, hospital. These days those industries are down, but anyway Sri Lanka has to do well in tourism if we have to come back. So we need competent people in those areas as well. So those are areas. Medicine, of course, out. You have to do your advanced level if you are planning to do medicine. But engineering, there are foundation programs. ESOFT also offers foundation programs in engineering, but I don't really recommend that for engineering pathway unless your child is brilliant in maths. Because the reason is, otherwise your child might have a difficulty in coping up with your engineering programs like civil engineering or mechanical, mechatronics. A lot of in-deep math knowledge is needed. So if your child is very good in maths, they can self-learn that part. So not having done A levels will not be a problem to cope up with the program.
Yeah.
I'm talking about A level, O level maths distinction, nothing below that, right? If your child is just average in O level maths, don't take that pathway, get them to do A level, because A level maths is very important to cope up with the engineering program. But via foundation pathway is available.
Yeah.
Right? Although I'm not a great promoter of that.
Yeah. I think that's coming out of your experience itself, and these are questions that as a family they should sit and discuss, look into the skills and the knowledge levels and competencies of the child before discussing your higher education. On a final note, I would like to get a message now to everyone who is watching us right now. Doctor, what would you like to say?
Yeah, so Ashichani, now most important thing is as I told you that this is a case by case decision that the
Okay.
parents have to make in consultation with our experts together with your child and whatever decision makers,
Yeah.
right, parents together. I would prefer for them to come to our branches because we have 42 of them. Now the other very important thing about what is unique to ESOFT is you don't have to come to all the way to Colombo or Kandy for doing your higher studies. We are present in almost every district in the country. Right? British education is taken to all provinces in Sri Lanka, including Jaffna and
Wow.
Batticaloa, right?
Yeah.
So these days, you know that one of the biggest challenges is transport.
Definitely.
Right? Even for you to travel a 10-kilometer distance, even if you have a transport method, finding fuel is an issue. So actually, you might find a place where you can, in a 5-kilometer radius, that distance, ESOP branch will be available, which can give you this opportunity. But we can never postpone our, careers. Even at a difficult time, we have to, go through that because that is where you see light in this dark tunnel, right? Hope is only there,
Yeah.
right? So therefore, I am advising all parents, no, don't postpone, right? You may have problems, you may have financial problem, you may have other problems, but come and discuss with us. I mean, you can open it yourself. This is how much I can, because we even give customized installments. I mean, we have monthly installment, but even on top of that, if you say that I cannot pay this much on a month, we have a provision for you to give a flexible installment plan. So therefore, if you tell your problem, we are able to give you a solution.
Yeah.
Right? So come with your children, discuss, meet our counselors, meet our branch managers, they will help you out.
And that's a message going out from the founder, the chairman and the managing director of the ESOFT group, Dr. Diane Rajapaksa. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining with Other Derana BIZ 24 today, and it was a very fruitful conversation. And I hope together we helped you, the parents who are watching, and also the students who are watching, who are waiting results, to make your decision. So sit down with your family, discuss how you're going to do it, and we are here to help you as media. So this is Other Derana BIZ 24. We would like to see you soon with our next episode as well. Thank you for watching.